And there are many things about Austin that I'm passionate about. It has a very vibrant music scene, great craft beer, lots of outdoor activities. And the secret's out. Over 100 people move to Austin every day, most of which are fellow Texans, but 6 of which every day are Californians. So I would encourage you, if you're coming to Austin, most people visit in the spring, everything is green and beautiful and cool. Before you decide to move here, understand that traffic is horrible, pollution is getting worse, and please come visit us in August when it's 106 degrees and 100% humidity. And then make an informed decision about whether or not you're to come live with us. But like I say, I've chosen to endure all that. And there is an analogy to the cloud, which will become clearer as I talk. So everyone is on a cloud journey, right? IaaS and PaaS services, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, is on fire. It's about 58 billion with a B per year, and it's growing sustained in the mid to upper 20s, 26.3% according to statistics from Gartner. So everyone is all in. We also know from research that 91% of enterprises have already joined the public cloud. They already have workloads running out there. And budgets are growing at around 25% year on year, not surprisingly looking at the growth of IaaS and PaaS. So everyone's out there, everyone can't get enough, and the reason is we know that more than 3 in 4 companies are already using Agile in their product R&D. And that comes from Serious Decisions. I was out at Serious Decisions Summit a couple months back. So cloud is the incubator for all of the innovation that our R&D teams, our armies of these 2-pizza scrum teams are out there. Everyone's rushing to the cloud. Everything is coming up roses and sunshine, right? It's spring in Austin, Texas. Well, maybe not. In our race to the cloud, to enable this innovation and to hurry up, you remember the mantra, cloud first. We got to get out there. A couple years ago, everybody was talking about cloud first. Maybe we weren't clear on what our goals were, how we were going to achieve them, and we may have sown a bitter crop. Because I'm here to tell you today something that you probably already know. Cloud operations management is broken, woefully so. It's fractured along 3 dimensions: cost, security, and governance. Don't just take my word for it. I'm just a guy up here talking. Market research shows that 57% worry about cloud cost every day. And I would venture by sampling bias to say that the number in this room is even higher than that. Otherwise, you wouldn't want to listen to me up here talking about this. Everyone worries about security. Again, market research tells us over 90% are moderately to extremely concerned about cloud security. So much so, more than half are going to deploy a new cloud security solution within the next 12 months. Cost and security, cost and security. If what we're doing right now to manage cost and security in the public cloud is working so well, why is there so much concern? We'll dig in more on these. And then finally, governance. In an effort to enable this agility, the cloud operations teams, or the Cloud Center of Excellence, that's that CCOE, they want to provide solutions that help these 2-pizza scrum teams move faster, to innovate. But they need to have some sensible guardrails. But the limited visibility the Cloud Center of Excellence, the cloud operations teams, they don't always see the cloud consumption that's happening in the shadows. And so we need to examine, as the Cloud Center of Excellence, why is our behavior, why are the solutions and the processes that we're putting in place, why is it driving our customers, these developers, to consume in the shadows? Because that's contributing to the security problem and the difficulties of cost management. Surprise bills, overages, poor forecasting. You can't manage what you don't see. So it's not all doom and gloom, right? We just have to reset the clock. We need to take a step back, look in the mirror, and take accountability for what we have sown and figure out an action plan on how to solve it. And we need to ask ourselves some tough questions, right? First of all, what are we trying to achieve in the cloud? Are all we're doing is just picking something up from on-prem, lifting it, and then shifting it over here into the cloud? What did that solve? You were already over-provisioned on-prem. You probably added some more resource sizing on top of it when you moved to the cloud. Why? I don't know why. I'm not clear on my goals. I just don't want my application, my service to go out because badness happens, right? So be clear about what your goals are, and then understand that managing cloud infrastructure, managing cloud IT is not the same ballgame as on premises. We'll get into more on that question in the coming slides. What concerns you about the cloud? Cost and security should be a concern. Governance should be a concern. What are you going to lift and shift? There's certainly values, workload automation, deciding some burst capacity in the cloud. What services are you going to move to the cloud so they'll reside there, and how are you going to do that? Why are you making the decision to migrate this service versus that service? What informed that decision? What are we going to develop natively in the cloud? Why? Who's going to do it? Do you have the right people? Do your people have the right skills? I was listening with interest yesterday as one of the speakers was up here talking about that very problem. Hiring people with the right cloud skills, especially around cybersecurity and infrastructure management. It's a big challenge. You might be better suited investing in the people that you already have. If you take nothing away from me up here talking with you, take away this headline. The Cloud Center of Excellence, the cloud operations team, your number one mission in life is to enable agility and not hinder it. If you subscribe to this mission, you will find that your customers come out of the shadows, and you will incentivize them, give them a real incentive to come within the fold so that you can govern their usage sensibly and manage it. But the moment you get in their way, the moment you clip them from behind, they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. You're not going to slow them down. You shouldn't slow them down. They are the force of your business that's going to drive your business to the next level. They're going to disrupt the competition. They're going to create new things that we can't even imagine. You want to make them successful in that effort. Previous speakers were talking about data. Data is everywhere. We're all drowning in it. What do we do? What do we do with data? Data has value. It's what we call latent value. It's untapped. It's crude. It's oil in the ground. You can't put that oil in your car. Bad analogy. I'm from Texas. Now everybody thinks I have an oil well in my front yard. That data has patterns, and those patterns reveal insights. We need machine learning. We were talking a lot yesterday in this room about AI and AI ops. When we talk about AI, no one is talking about Skynet becoming self-aware, the machines are not going to rise and take over. We're talking about machine learning. We're creating mountains of data that we're drowning under. We need help to reveal insights buried within that data. Those insights have more value than the data themselves. But action speaks volumes. What you need then is a means of converting those insights into action. The cloud changes quickly. I look across this room and I see all these tables. I imagine each one of these tables is a 2-pizza scrum team spread across your global organization, each one continuously updating their microservice that resides in the cloud. You cannot hope to manage cloud operations manually. You need machine learning and automation to convert that data, configuration data, cost data, security information, to convert that information into action where it has the most value for your organization. Don't forget, enable agility. Do not stand in its way. And you'll be the hero. The first challenge and the first piece of advice, or practical guidance, I would say, is know what you have, do some asset discovery. If you know what you have out in the cloud, real time, then that information can inform your migration planning. It can also inform the app level service management of your cloud footprint. So some recommendations around choosing an asset discovery service. Make sure everything is automated, multi-cloud. What you don't want is one point solution for this cloud service provider, another solution for this cloud, and another solution for that cloud. You don't have enough people. You don't have enough money to manage that kind of overhead. Do have an asset tagging strategy. Work with your Cloud Center of Excellence team to formulate one if you don't have it. Things like department, what dev team is associated with this resource. Because trust me, inevitably you're going to get a surprise bill from your cloud service provider. It's going to be 10x times what you were budgeting for that. And you're going to start to dig in. Your boss is going to tell you, hey, what went wrong? I was expecting a $300,000 check this month, and now I have a $3 million bill. Your boss is going to want answers. And so you're going to crack open your AWS bill, your Azure bill. It's going to be 750 pages, and there's going to be no context there. It's not going to help you understand at all what went wrong. It's just going to be a line-by-line delineation of all the cloud services you used. This is why you need a comprehensive asset discovery, taxonomy, asset tagging strategy. Next, cloud security. We talked about 93% are concerned about cloud security, so much so that they're going to open up their wallet, replace what solution they have today, and buy something new. Everyone's familiar with the old on-prem analogy, right? Build your castle walls high, build them thick, mortar any gaps. It just doesn't work in the cloud. 1 billion public cloud records were exposed last year. The number of reported incidents are up 20% year on year. The bad guys have us squarely in their crosshairs. And we are bringing sticks and stone to a modern battlefield. We have to do better, or we can continue to expect the same results. Why don't these high, thick walls work? They don't work for a rapidly changing perimeter. The cloud is fluid, it's ephemeral. A container can spin up in milliseconds, and then it's gone. And then it'll spin up again. You want to enable the agility. It's the speed of change that you're looking for. Agility and security are not mutually exclusive. We just need a better way. So your two-pizza Scrum teams spread out across the globe are all managing their microservices, continuously updating and pushing changes to the cloud services that they're consuming. And there are multiple cloud service providers. We know from research the average number is 2, and you're already tinkering with more. So multiple cloud service providers, each with hundreds of PaaS services, most of which are similar, but none of them are identical. My colleague, John Thomas, was talking yesterday in more depth about managing the challenge of cloud security. And he mentioned this simple fact. If the service can be configured, you are responsible for it. Your cloud service provider is not responsible for securing your data. I also know from research that 53% of you mistakenly believe that they are. It's not the case. Read the fine print. So how do we solve this? It's a big challenge, to be clear. There are solutions. Use policies, codify your compliance policies, and use them to consistently enforce security and compliance throughout your organization. Again, we're enabling agility. We're not hindering anything. We're just providing sensible instruction to all of our two-pizza Scrum teams, all of our developers who are continuously updating what's in the cloud. Use automation. The scope and scale, the velocity of change, no one's going to slow down for you, for us. We have to find a better way, and the better way is automation. Automate the finding of these security and compliance violations and automate the remediation. And again, make sure it's easy to use, because if it's easy to use, they're incentivized to come into the fold, right? If it's hard to use, maybe they're going to go back into the shadows. I love this one. I saved this one for last. Cloud cost. Check this out. 1/3 of what you're spending in the cloud is pure waste. It's a self-reported number. Don't trust me. You told me this. This is published research. Now we begin to understand why all that constant daily concern about cloud costs, right? Now, I'm sure somewhere in the room, there's a very mature cloud organization, and they're not suffering from this problem. They have complete visibility. They are the exception and not the rule. I speak with a lot of customers. Recently, a customer told me that they laughed when I said 1 of every 3. They said, Rick, it's 9 of every 10 for us. I swear my jaw hit the floor. 9 out of every $10. What's your cloud budget look like next year? Oh, we're accelerating. We cannot slow down. We're going to spend more, but we know it's a problem and we have to solve it. Yeah, it's a problem. How do we solve it? Well, what's causing it? The limited visibility is leading to surprise overages. We can't forecast what we're using. Our businesses are complex, right? We do not need machine learning to draw a straight line. Linear regression does not adequately represent the complexity of our cloud consumption patterns. This is why we need machine learning, at least in part. And then waste. What do I mean by when I'm talking about waste? What if you have an idle asset? It could be idle for a couple reasons. It could be idle because your developer, one of the developers in Pune, in Santa Clara, they set up a VM, an EC2 instance, and they haven't used it for 6 weeks. They forgot about it. Well, that's an opportunity to save some money. And if you have automation and machine learning that would reveal those consumption patterns, it might even flag it and say, hey, that's a good candidate to save some money right there. So idle assets. They could be idle overnight. So not only an asset that you haven't touched in weeks, but an asset that you're not using for 8 hours of the day. Why don't you do some power scheduling, turn those things off? Because as long as they're on, guess what? The meter's running. You're paying for it. And that speaks to a little bit about a cultural transformation. I don't have a slide on culture. I only have 9 more minutes, but yeah, we won't get into that. I'll consume all my time. So some recommendations. Choose a solution that has machine learning. That machine learning is going to examine all your data, and it's going to reveal some very illustrative insights. And then those insights, with applied automation, can provide the real value through action. Okay, and naturally we have a solution for this. TrueSight Cloud Operations. It's a SaaS cloud management suite, multi-cloud. It uses machine learning, automation, and policy-based governance to optimize your cloud cost and enforce cloud security. And with this solution, you begin to take your cloud footprint from reactive to predictive, and cloud operations becomes as agile as your developers who are your customers. Machine learning is going to identify the waste, examine your consumption patterns, and make real-time recommendations. If you look across the bottom of the screenshot, you'll see some automated recommendations that in this example, we can save nearly $400,000 a month by resizing some VMs. So remember when we did some lift and shift? We took it from here and moved it to the cloud. We oversized some stuff. I said we were 40% over-provisioned on-prem, and then we moved it to the cloud, added a little. We can save a lot of money by right-sizing. And of course, that will affect performance of your cloud service. And so we can show you what the performance impact would be. So you can do that cost-performance trade-off and make a decision that makes sense for your organization. So I find it interesting, $832,000 spend, and we can save nearly half of that every month in this example. And then finally, let's automate security and compliance. This solution has a library of security and compliance policies that come ready to use right out of the box. No coding required, no specialist. You do not have to have a PhD in data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, none of that. If you can point and click, then you can operate this interface. It's very intuitive. Okay, so it's almost time for the Expo to open. I would invite you to come visit us. We're at booth 400. I'll be there. We can show you a demonstration of TrueSight Cloud Operations. We can have a discussion about the challenges that you're facing in the public cloud. Or you can go to bmc.com/cloudops. It renders beautifully on your mobile device. You can do it right while you're here. I'd invite you to learn more, download some assets, share them with the people in the Cloud Center of Excellence. Have a conversation, and when you're ready, hit me up. Let's book a demo. Free trials available right there on bmc.com/cloudops. And with that, I thank you for your time.